Torrential rain, lightning strikes and flash floods have caused travel chaos across large parts of southeast England and London this morning. There was major disruption to the rail network across the region, with many routes blocked. A number of London Underground lines were also suspended after tracks were flooded, causing long delays for commuters. And more heavy rain and thunderstorms are forecast for later today during rush hour. Here's Richard Lister.
It was a dazzling display overnight, the storm system generating 1,000 strikes an hour as it moved up from France. And imagine being woken in the middle of the night to find this. Torrential rain pushing water back through the toilet flooded this home in Vauxhall, South London.
Water started gushing in out of the toilets, both toilets at about sort of half two in the morning. And then, yes, as you can see, it rapidly spread everywhere. So a quick dart to sort of get all personal belongings, etc., upstairs as quickly as possible, really.
Some parts of the southeast got a month's worth of rain in just 6 hours, and much of it had nowhere to go. This was the scene in Romford in Essex this morning. Like many others, this woman in Canning Town was watching the water level lap at her doorstep. The London Fire Brigade's using boats to help people trapped inside. It's been dealing with calls since midnight.
We received, between the hours of 3 and 5, approximately 500 calls, of which we attended 400 incidents. This normally compares to the amount of calls that we receive in 24 hours.
It was a miserable morning for commuters. These usually packed platforms at Clapham Junction were deserted, as flooded tracks meant many trains were cancelled. Services to Gatwick and Stansted airports were affected too. Huge queues built up and thousands had their journeys disrupted at several stations in the region. Driving wasn't any easier. Some woke up to find their cars waterlogged. Others found roads closed or traffic crawling through standing water. The evening commute could be tricky too.
Later on in the day, we're going to start to see some intense thunderstorms once again, bringing further thunder, lightning, some hail, and further flooding is likely.
There you are.
So people are recovering what they can before the next deluge. There are 7 flood warnings in place and more than 40 alerts. This region is braced for yet more disruption. Richard Lister, BBC News.
Well, our correspondent Sarah Campbell is in Romford. The water levels, Sarah, are subsiding, but warnings that we just heard then of more to come.
Yeah, that's very much the nature of flash flooding. I mean, the water literally in the last few minutes, the last of it just going down the drain. The firefighters have been working solidly for the last few hours. If you can imagine, at about 3 o'clock this morning, water started gushing through from the river, which is just over that layer of housing, coming through, and at its worst point it was waist high in this street. So around 60 properties on this street have been affected, another 60 on nearby properties. Schools have been closed, the firefighters have been taking people out of houses. I know of one elderly lady who had a panic attack and had to be taken out. So there's really been major disruption here this afternoon in Romford, but also across London. As you've been hearing, there was something like 550 emergency calls in a short space, just a few hours. That's double the number they'd expect in an entire day. And so there have been 50 firefighters working here. There are still 300 incidents ongoing at the moment. So really the fire service being put under a huge amount of pressure. They've been getting rid of all this water, but as you say, the next stage they've also been doing is bringing sandbags, bringing flood equipment which will protect these houses and other houses in the area. So now it's about preparing for the next load of rain which is due to come this afternoon. So people here really crossing their fingers that it's not going to be quite as bad as it was in the early hours of this morning.
Sarah Campbell, thank you.